Hello, everybody. For this week's episode, we take it back to the Harry and Meghan interview with Oprah. We have a discussion on the monarchy, what actually happened in the interview, what we think happened behind closed doors, and what we think for monarchies moving forward in today's world. Episodes will be on Spotify very, very soon.
If you've watched the interview, what were your thoughts on the interview?
Okay, so yeah, a lot of thoughts really. Firstly, I wasn't really, I'm going to say surprised or shocked by what was said, only because, you know, like we've been saying for quite some time, there's a lot of racism in Britain, and, you know, obviously racism is not necessarily a quote unquote working class thing.
What was said, Darren, in the interview? That caught your attention, that was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you kind of said off the pod, the kind of mention of the child and the concerns about what colour the child would be, which is kind of mad because, you know, Meghan was pretty, you know, she could pass for white in most cases. So I don't know what colour they thought that the baby was going to be, but the fact that there was obviously concerns and that was brought up to them, I guess that is a bit mad because obviously, you know, anyone can be racist behind closed doors, but to, you know, actually, you know, express those concerns to them without naming names of who it could be, but, you know, possibly Charles,
Probably
maybe
Charles.
probably Charles, maybe William. I don't think it's Philip because I think he's battling health as it is. He's got other issues. But yeah, I think that was one. Then the security like detail bit. So
before we move on to the security, did anyone else think that the whole like them questioning the child and how dark the child is going to be, were any of you shocked at that?
When I heard that, I was actually I wouldn't go so far as to say shocked, but I was just taken aback.
Surprised?
Yeah, because
You didn't think it was feasible?
not even that it was feasible. It's just that, like, why would that be a worry? Like, why is that a thing? Because again, the whole publication of this like union was the fact that like she's like part black and all of this. So it's not like we already got through. I thought we got through the hurdle of, okay, here's like a black person in the royal family, black adjacent, or however some people might want to describe that, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, like with that was part of the media coverage. That was part of the whole celebrity and all of that. So
do you think she was accepted?
No. I never thought she was accepted. But again, it's part of this. Like, okay, there's like, here's the elephant in the room. She's black. Cool. Like for you to now, like, I just didn't think. Well, that would come with part of the reason you have a problem that she's black is because she'll have like kids, right? That's the whole point. And if that has been already brought up, like you have that level of concern.
like, did they not think of that before?
Exactly. Like why is there a new folder of issues being raised about the color of the child? Like that to me just seemed, again, not unrealistic, not anything. It's just, bro, we would have, like, that's what came with the fact that she's black. Like, you know, that's already there. I felt like we should have, like, at least, like, had this discussion before. Like, why is that coming up now that she's pregnant or, like, wherever else?
Maybe they really just, maybe, like, Charles woke up one day and was like, shit, man.
Like, they didn't realise.
This is really happening.
Yeah. I saw one Azonto video and think, I can't be having that running down the halls. Like.
It's true.
Hey, man, Charles has already dances with Zonto. Haven't you seen him in the African tribes?
I saw him with his, you know, on his PR thing the other day.
Oh yeah, we saw that.
What's it called? He went somewhere in Northwest.
Yeah, and there was that black lady with them, innit? Yeah.
Wearing like, you could tell she was smiling behind the mask. Like, that chick was probably heavy.
Like, yeah, it was heavy. Yeah, that's what someone said. Yeah, she was smiling. You know that money hit good. But like, how black did they think the baby was gonna be?
Exactly.
Like,
it's like midnight black.
That's
what they were thinking.
Literally, like, oh my god.
They're trying to debate: is this gonna be midnight or matte?
Yeah.
Like, which one do I like the feel of?
My days.
It's like, Oh, we don't want one that won't match the furniture in this
Yeah.
place.
Gotta be matte black, man. You're gonna reduce the fingerprints.
Yeah, because you know that child's gonna be touched.
In it.
Where's Andrew?
Yeah.
Where's Andrew?
Where is Andrew? You know, Andrew still has like all of his
Yeah, he
like,
still has his
titles.
titles,
Yeah, nothing been stripped
How
away.
is he more protected than Meghan?
Yeah.
The
Well-
Queen's special little boy.
Mm.
He is.
Yeah.
Facts.
Mm.
But you know, there was a lot in the end. There was a lot that was in the interview. What else that was kind of shocking or
Yeah.
surprising?
I think
or
The
something that was
security,
like, oh, shit.
the security stuff surprised me only because their reasoning for it was a bit mad. So obviously Harry had been like stripped of his titles and whatnot, so they're not really seen as being outwardly royal, like they don't have the royal responsibility. And then they took away the security because they deemed it not necessary. But obviously him not having royal titles and responsibility does not stop the fact that he's part of the Windsor royal family. So I thought them not having the security is crazy because he still is Harry. Like he doesn't now all of a sudden become John or like some random guy. Like he's still like Ginger Harry, like who's a prince. Like, and then obviously them also having a child. Well, I don't know if Archie was born at that point, but a child on the way at least would even strengthen the fact that they would need protection of some sort. And the fact that they had to, obviously they went to America and had, I'm not sure who Tyler Perry is.
Perry?
Yeah, I'm not really sure who he is. But,
Medea.
Medea, yeah.
oh, okay. And had,
That just hit
Yes.
me. Like, you don't know what Tyler Perry is, mad.
yeah, what does he do?
He's
Medea.
a filmmaker.
He's got the
It's like
biggest-
Miss Doubtfire,
he's got-
but the black
He's
version.
got the
Yeah.
biggest studio
Oh.
production lot.
Yeah, it's
He's
like
a billionaire.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But still, that's mad. Like, they had to get him. Like, does Harry not have friends?
I don't think he does.
I mean, but does he have friends that are outside of the system?
Yeah,
that he
that's
says
true,
are
yeah.
like people who are trapped in that royal interchange
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Like,
So what
that's
Tyler
mad.
Perry is providing their security.
At first, before they got their own place, and
Oh.
yeah,
They had to seek refuge from racism in America. That is so
that's
crazy.
mad in
From a black
America.
man.
Yeah,
These times, would that black man be allowed in there to meet with the Queen?
but also
To meet with
like
Charles?
they didn't get no peas from the Queen or whatever. They just had the ones that they got from Diana, innit? And I guess whatever Meghan would have had. Crazy. That's I think that was another striker thing which I didn't expect because I didn't actually know about the security thing until I watched the interview. I didn't really read up
Yeah.
before the interview on.
Do you not think that like taking the security away is like an act of war
Yeah, 100%.
towards the family, especially when you know what happened to his mother?
Yeah,
And the
100%.
fact of holding
That's
it
what
and
makes it
stuff, and
worse.
It's like,
See,
you know what? We're actively going to take the security away.
Yeah,
Because of a
100%.
small reason.
The fact that Andrew still has it is mad.
It's great. And they're in another country in lockdown.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear that.
it's nuts.
I hear that, but again, this is not me like agreeing with their decision. This is just like putting a counter argument there. Do we know-
Is this your counter argument? Or is it just a counter argument?
So
It's-
devil's advocate.
It's a counter argument
Okay.
because again, I don't necessarily like.
So you don't necessarily believe in this?
No. I don't necessarily like know where I fall in the whole security thing because like worst case scenario, like you people got money, like it doesn't take all that much to get private security or whatever.
How much
else.
money though?
Like enough that you have, like you can spare that. Like their
How do
their
you know?
net worth is in the millions.
How do you know?
Again, their net worth is in the millions, unless that's wrong.
I'm saying now probably yeah. But like
No, but
within that time, because okay, obviously, let's say
Because
okay,
they've been cut off from getting all of the funds from the
because
royals.
obviously, let's say Harry hasn't had like a job and shit, and obviously they had to stop Meghan from acting and stuff. So she
Yeah,
had done that. And
they've got no peas.
we don't know how much money Diana had. Like she died a long time ago.
yeah, but come on, like a lot of the stuff she would have had and like properties that she would have kept, like sold, like those things go for millions, and we're hearing people buy like
Yeah, but then you have to think,
NFTs for like.
how much is security worth for someone who is a royal? Like that kind of security. is
Again,
different.
no, I'm just putting that out there. So like I'm saying, like I'm not fully from, but
You
what
ain't getting rapid security. Like, for Harry,
my original point was going to be: do we know if the security are paid for with taxpayers' money? Because if
Royal
they don't
family,
have
yeah.
exactly, if they don't have that HRH, which is like the whole like title and all of that, because again, that's under the United Kingdom's protection kind of shit. Where it's like, if you don't have that, then what legal grounds outside of the sentimental family shit? Which again, you can have the sentimental you want, and then provide private security elsewhere. Why they didn't do that? Again, racism, all of that.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about like the
they're still with the family though.
No, I hear you, but
So-
again, the family isn't just a family; it's an institution.
No,
There's a
they
different
are,
parts
they
of
are,
that.
They're still in the institution. They're just stepping back from the institution. They're not completely taken away. Like he's not abdicating or whatever, like that kind of stuff. He's not saying,
but he doesn't have anything to abdicate.
No, but I'm saying,
like-
he's not saying, oh yeah, I am completely like disowning the royal people in it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
but
no
again-
longer Prince Harry. They took the status away from his child and him because of the fucking.
Yeah, I hear it, but again, the status you're talking about is that type, that HRH, like His Royal Highness or Her Royal Highness, like that. I believe this is, again, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm thinking, like, to have that security, you have that title, and you're basically the property of the United Kingdom with that title. You're not just a member of the royal family. So I'm thinking, as far as like them taking it away, it makes sense given that, again, you don't have that title. This is taxpayers' money. We're not paying for a private citizen at this point, which is what he is.
For the unborn child.
Again, private citizen.
Unborn grandson.
I hear you, but private citizen, we're
Yeah.
not using taxpayers' money to pay for private citizen security. That's where I'm saying,
That
like,
is
devil's
crazy.
advocate. Like, I hear that. But again,
Wait,
that's not to say
Wait. Is he no longer British?
No, it's not what he's saying.
every
No,
British
no,
person
no,
isn't
but I'm
getting
saying-
private
but I'm
security,
saying-
like, out here. Come
What
on.
I'm saying, in terms of him being I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like that's
It's
all I'm
it's
saying.
crazy.
Exactly, but again, I'm saying like that doesn't mean obviously like they have money by themselves. They can get like a private security company to like follow them and do all of those things without the taxpayer money. So why they didn't do that? That's on some racist whatever shit. I'm just saying as far as like the
So you're saying that
security we're talking
they
about.
if the Queen used her own, say, personal money.
Exactly. Then that's
okay.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
she could have done that. They could have done all
Yeah.
of that.
Alright, that makes sense.
And then then they would be protected because again the thing here is their protection. There are more other ways.
But
to
that's
do
what makes it worse. Then is the
Yeah.
fact that they didn't do that. The fact that they didn't.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I'm saying just off of like just removing the security as far as taxpayers money, that bit kind of makes sense with the legalities again because
to save money.
it's not to save money. It's like
It's money they're
the,
not-
exactly.
they're no longer entitled to.
They're no longer entitled to because again, like royal family is already tenuous with the government. As far as like, do we even still want to have a monarchy anyway? So they don't even rule like that. Whole shit is still tenuous.
Yeah.
So for them to then say, well, he's let go of the title, but we'll still use taxpayers' money to protect him, it's kind of mad. You
Yeah.
could use your own money to do it, but I get taking that away at least initially. Whatever the reasons are for not doing the private thing,
That is
I
mad.
get you. That's
That is
fucked up.
mad.
That's what I'm saying.
It makes
like,
sense.
mad.
How you said
for
it.
me, it makes sense as
But
far as like
it makes
removing
sense.
it, but you
It's
need
just-
to remove that and replace it with
Because
something else.
because what if something happened to them? Then they would have said, oh, it's because you removed security and they got some book security.
And no, but I'm saying they should have replaced it with something
The
else.
difference is what he's saying is the money used initially is
I get it. I
Yeah.
get
It
it.
doesn't
I'm just
come
saying-
off of their
I'm just saying
pockets,
the
it comes
reason
off
is
of our
flimsy.
pockets.
Yeah, it
It's
is. Yeah,
flimsy.
no,
Like,
really.
so-
The reason to, I guess you could say the reason is on them for, not going through with doing the royal.
They said, oh yeah,
duties
we're going to
and
step back. And
responsibilities.
then they said, oh, fuck you then. We're going to just take security.
Yeah.
Put you in danger. That is
Yeah.
nuts. When you
Yeah.
have an unborn child, that is nuts.
Yeah.
Regardless of how
The
you
Queen
put
or
that,
someone else
crazy,
should have in the family.
They should have replaced
provided,
it. That's it.
replaced it with
I
their
get
own
the whole
personal,
taxpayer
like-
angle. Just
Yeah,
replace
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because that's not even a problem for you to do. Like it's not even that doesn't even scratch the wallets.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
they
Innit? They've
should
got
have
peace,
replaced
like, and obviously Harry didn't have peace because otherwise they wouldn't have had to go to Tyler Perry. Like,
Tyler Perry. Man's writing 10 scripts at once.
Well, but technically, if you're looking at the quality of it,
Yeah.
probably the same
Don't worry,
thing with
don't
one
worry,
word
don't
change.
worry, don't worry. He's got bigger things to worry about. You know what I mean? Like,
Man's writing-
all that production space, but it's just him and Vibes not paying his actors and everything. You know, that's a different conversation. You know what I mean? Head of the, that's fine.
That's a Jay-Z line right there.
Oh, yeah,
in
he's
fact,
got-
so just I know we're gonna get back to some of the interview stuff, but just gonna
yeah,
talk
we'll get to
about
Sang in a sec.
talk about the royal family. So, what is you guys? I don't even know if I'm saying interpretation or what is it you guys think the royal family does like now?
Suck up people, money and soul.
Well, right now, I mean, me personally, I don't care for the royal family. Like, I never
Yeah.
have,
Yeah, so
never will. But I understand that they do generate a lot of money in terms of like tourism and all of that attraction stuff. They occupy a lot of land and space. But
How much is that
They
tourism?
own a
It's
lot
like
of the
50 mil,
shits.
I think.
I feel like they're bringing more than 50 mil.
Do you
I
have any
know
figures?
us as taxpayers, we pay them a sovereign grant, which is like last year was £69.4 million, which is like £1 per person in the UK.
yeah,
Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's still a lot of money that we don't need to give out, especially because I think a couple of years ago, I think Harry and Meghan, when they were like Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, they had to do renovation on their place, and we paid like £2 million for that. So Sussex, yeah.
Sussex,
Oh yeah, Cambridge is
Charles,
William, isn't it?
Oh.
Charles?
Williams.
No,
Is it
Cambridge is William.
William, yeah, William. And
I'm
Kate.
just guessing.
Yeah. So for things like that, because it's meant to be for their royal duties, and I didn't really see them do much apart from traveling and shaking hands.
No.
And I think
Well,
it's a burden on them, because if they feel like they have to do this and keep all these appearances, I think that's why we have instances where they have to like keep themselves isolated from the public. They can't be doing normal things, and when they do normal things, like I think like a decade ago there was a whole Kate Middleton scandal when she was topless in France, and then that was like, oh no, this is, and then you have the whole Diana thing with her mental health, Meghan Markle and her mental health. I don't think we don't need them. I don't think it's good for them as a family
they don't need it,
either.
yeah.
And I don't really see what they're in charge of apart from swans. So
like the whole attraction, the whole attraction with them is kind of it's a legacy, it's a history thing, it's a heritage thing.
Not
because
my history.
No, again,
Colonialism.
Bro, I am not
Imperialism.
here telling you it's a good one, but history is history. Like it's just there. Like I'm sorry,
And we should atone for it. So to take it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, take it down. Like again, this is not a K-pop or anything. I'm just, you ask me like, what is it there for? Like, what is it doing? Like,
so
that's
this is kind of like the statues argument, like when they had statues up of like racist people.
So they should still get peas.
Like it's part of the history of the town, but it
exactly, it's like
represents
it represents a bunch of things to different people. But like that's the intrinsic nature of it. And again, we're talking like it's a form of identity for British people, honestly, because you say you're British, the first thing people are thinking of is the whole poshness and everything that comes off of that. Like that in itself, that intrinsic sense of self. Like we're talking about like people, and like it's like saying, okay, I'm a black person, but like that's intrinsic to your nature. That's just what you are in terms of like a person, right? Then take that and expand it to a country. Like that's just what England is. Like the idea of England, the whole, like you say England, and that's just what it is. Like you start hearing God save the Queen.
I'd agree with you if this was like 100 years ago.
No, but bro, I'm telling you, it doesn't.
People ain't even really like that anymore.
Yeah,
like,
but the difference is 100 years ago or whatever else. Like not even 100 years past that. Like generations ago, they had power. They had governing, they had ruling power. Now they've changed it. They just reign. And that's like that's where it's like they're trying. That is a sense of trying to hang on to that sense of self, that sense of heritage, that sense of for like.
Because I don't think like we were saying for England, like the random person on the streets, they're not going to feel.
Bro, but again, like that's a consequence of globalization.
How can they relate to the Queen and them lot if they've never had a job or they've never had to do anything they've had to do?
You're saying this to the common person, but a lot of the people who control, like say the government or wherever else, come from that class of people, and that's their England, that's their identity. Like you're like again, we're not like if you ask a random man on the street, take it down. They don't care. Like what attachment do they have? They just
and to be fair, I don't know if you guys have ever been or seen any like royals, but I remember once when I was in uni, I don't know if Harry was. No, I don't think Harry was with Meghan at that point, but I remember Prince Harry came to like one of the like big buildings that was there, and there was just like hundreds of people, and I was thinking like I didn't think people still cared about the royals like that, but people do, man. Like you saw like on the wedding and stuff, like people buying all those plates and shit and like cups with like their faces on and whatever. Like
Prince Andrew was in like Greenwich Market like 5 years ago, opening it up.
And the thing is, like, even beyond the borders of the UK, like we're talking about how people in America are like caring about this shit. Like it's like, to them, it's
also we also have to think of yes, it is the British history, but also there are a lot of other countries that are linked to that are still under the reins of that.
Exactly, but this is why it's important to the British, is because economically that still helps about things with the Commonwealth and like trade deals and all of that. That shit influences Barbados
that were like, you know what, we're done with
the Commonwealth. Like a bunch of countries
recently I saw that.
A bunch of countries have like removed themselves, but again, the whole is still there. It's not as simple as we're England and we're just gonna, because we're here for democracy and the republic, we're going to get rid of it now. Because then you start have to negotiate new deals, trade deals with all these people. I can't even handle Brexit.
See,
Like,
that's
come on, like it's bigger than just it's a royal family just sitting there. Yes, they're reigning and stuff, but what they rule with is influence, and they've got generations. Generations is even like it's a tiny way of putting this, bro. They've got like years and years and years just built in.
I mean,
do you think like I'm gonna say the England-wide like diminished importance of the royal family kind of ties into religion as well? Like, whereas back in the day, people were very religious and obviously also very like believed in the royals. Whereas now, obviously, religion is still big, but I feel like religion is not taken as seriously now as it was in 1900.
Yeah, but religion was never the only thing. Like
but
the royals
with
used.
religion, they
I know, but they were like the.
No, they were, but that was only the only reason they were was just to affirm a power they already had.
Yeah.
The power they have is in land.
Yeah.
That's it.
No,
Like,
no, but I
they
mean
use
like
religion as the big influence.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
exactly. That's why, like,
Control.
religion, like, it's always a big influence. But if you take religion away, they still have the powers they have.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
that they have to fight more to keep it.
But they
with
use-
religion, they use it to tame people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
the fact that now that religion is not as big as a thing, and obviously they do have diminished powers, like you said, with the government and stuff.
Exactly.
But both of them kind of work.
That's
sort of
what
hand
it
in
is.
hand.
Where it's like, because religion's
Yeah.
gone away, now they have. You see the struggles, all the cracks,
Yeah.
and like trying to like get rid of it. Like,
See,
what's the point? All it is.
One thing I've never really understood, but I wish, because in uni I didn't actually study the British Empire. For some reason, I chose to do the Ottoman Empire. But anyway,
Still sick.
I never quite understood the Commonwealth, because the Commonwealth is just a follow-on, really, of it's just all of the nations, well, most of the nations that were controlled by the British
Empire,
Empire,
yeah.
right? Like, why is that still a thing? Like,
Why is that a vibe?
yeah, why is that a vibe? That's
not a vibe.
kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, what? Like, what is it? So
It's-
they're all a collection of countries that trade with each other and like, I guess, have good relations.
Yeah. Now that's what it's kind of become, but
Okay.
the unifying factor,
Commonwealth Games.
exactly the unifying factor is the fact that
Racismo.
they all sort of pay their respects
It's
to
like
the queen or
remember
whoever the ruling
back in
head is.
slavery. That time.
Remember back in the day when we controlled you? Yeah, cool.
Remember. Yeah, we still get the links.
Exactly, and
Still
then
connected.
the whole thing with the queen, and this is why she's been like ridiculously instrumental in keeping that. If she had gone, believe me,
Don't worry, it's coming.
This
Few years.
I hear you. Like if she wasn't here, this thing would have been melted ages ago. It's because
Yeah.
she changed the nature of that relationship, or the people's perception of that nature of relationship over the course of 60 plus years. Like, especially when she was
Yeah.
a kid
I
and
actually
people
read about that,
identified
actually.
with her, and like the fact that her father died and her sense of duty and like commitment to all of that. There was the whole famous thing with they showed this in The Crown. Obviously, like, it's an actual real thing, like the trying to keep Ghana from joining with the Soviets, and like the whole dance with Kram, wherever his name is, like that whole thing where it's like he was becoming this Pan-African identity, moving over to the Soviets, but then because she influenced that, here you go, you
Yeah.
got other African leaders sort of like what's the word, associating themselves with the West and everything that comes with that, and so she's that unifying factor. She's the glue. Like, you take her out of that, all of these nations are like looking at their own self-interest, because she's helped them negotiate deals in other places. So it's like, why lose that kind of influence? If you've got one person that's literally a
Are you
link,
saying from the
so-
Queen's perspective?
Exactly. If you
Okay.
no, even from their perspective, like, how are you going to lose? If you had a problem, or you wanted to negotiate a trade deal with, say, another country who was also in the Commonwealth, like, obviously you can negotiate directly with them, but if there's an impasse, there's another person you can go through where you can kind of find amenable terms. Not to say that the other person will get fleeced, but again, it's a middle ground. It takes away that tension a lot of the time. And again, the only reason that's possible is because of the nature of the relationship this one person has built. All of them in unison respect that woman. They don't have as much regard for the institution. The Queen, like Elizabeth,
You
like,
think everyone in the Commonwealth respects the Queen?
yeah, like, as far as rulers, I'm telling you, bro. Like, at least for me,
I
like,
don't
get.
you mean like prime ministers of other countries? Do you mean respect
Exactly.
that?
Yeah, not
Okay.
not the
Not
people. Like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Like
come
the
on.
people-
Like, they
Even
don't matter.
even then, I still
They don't
I-
matter.
I don't
Honestly,
think- I don't think
the
I don't
people,
think
they
they
don't
do.
matter in this. This is a relationships between governments.
I think some of them probably, but I don't think all of them or
No,
most of them.
it's not. Yeah, but it's again, everything.
still
They,
fa- 'cause I
everything
still think
they have
independence
issues
would be a
with the
lot on the-
institutions. As far as like what you're saying about, remember back to slavery times and that. But the reason why they can't take action is because a large number of their population still respect this one person, this queen, that seems to have done her part as far as like her duty, always focused on that and all of this stuff. And she's kept that consistent for 60 plus years. They're not just going to throw that away. What you're saying about
so what
like,
does it
she
so what does
does
it show
goes-
to the Commonwealth when you're saying, oh yeah, you know what, I'm gonna take away the security of my great grandson who who is part black.
I don't
Like,
think
you
it
know what I mean?
affects them, to be fair.
Honestly, I don't.
So you don't think that it's going to be like in those
Not at
countries?
all.
It's going to
I
be
honestly
a little
don't.
bit
And
different?
again, all of that still links to this whole thing where it's like whatever plans
Okay,
people are
that's
making,
interesting. That's
whatever
interesting.
plans people are making to overthrow, that's on hold until this woman else. Like, until
Oh yeah,
this
no,
woman
everything's
else.
gonna happen till when
On
she
hold.
goes.
Like nothing will happen as far as any change to the royal family while she's still alive. It just, bro, I'm telling
I
you,
mean,
it
if it
won't
was if it
happen.
wasn't for the pandemic, I'm pretty sure a lot of like protests and shit.
That's no way.
Okay,
No way.
Hold it. I'm pretty sure a lot of protests would have happened about this whole Andrew stuff.
Yeah, you
If-
hear protests.
if the pandemic wasn't happening.
You hear protests, but
No, no,
nothing
no,
as
but
far
I
as
mean-
change to the
but
royal
I think-
family.
but I
That
think
never gonna
now,
happen.
because-
I'm like,
okay,
probably,
so you're saying that this is not going to make a dent in them, and they're just going to remain strong.
again, like they're gonna,
That's what I'm kind of.
they're gonna remain as they remain, and the only reason that this is, it's not. I'm not saying it's not strong enough to create a dent. I'm saying whatever effect it's supposed to have, it's being nullified by the fact that this woman is still alive. If all of this happened while William was on the throne or Charles was on the throne out here, that's my only thing
No.
to you. So everything you're saying is
why this
powerful
is
enough
wrong?
to create
why
that
this
dent.
is wrong? You know why this is wrong? Because in the interview they played a very like powerful family element, and then Oprah asked that question. Oh, but she's the queen. She's your grandmother. Surely she can be able to do all of that. I mean, you ask those kind of questions, and it's like, oh,
Brother-
why wouldn't my grandmother or why wouldn't like the grandmother help this and this? Regardless of everything you said.
Yeah,
regardless
here's
of
the
everything you said,
retort. Here's a retort.
There
to
is
that.
no retort
No,
when you're
I'm
talking
about to tell
family.
you.
There is no retort. when
I'm
you're
about to
talking
tell
family.
you though.
To the average person, there is no retort when you're talking family and that kind of thing, unless you're on that racist side. There is no retort.
I mean, you could
In my
say to
opinion.
average person, but like, unfortunately, the makeup of the UK, most
It's
of
not-
people are going to be more sympathetic to the white monarchy than they are to be.
But the average person are what is holding up the monarchy still.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
but
most
again-
of them are going to be like, as we've seen, like approval ratings so far. Meghan and Harry's theirs plummeted, but the Queen's, everyone's still in favour of the Queen.
That's exactly my point. Because even what you're saying about like, oh, we're challenging the Queen's like, well, surely she's the Queen.
But
and she would've done that.
that's only because they specifically said it wasn't the queen.
Bro,
We're not even. When I'm not even. I'm not
even
necessarily
when the
talking
Queen
about-
herself
I'm
has
not-
been at fault.
You know what it is? I'm not even talking about the Queen. I'm talking about the monarchy itself. Because the Queen is the Queen. She's 96 in it. Like she's on her final days in it. Like these are her final years.
No.
I'm really talking about after her in it, because after her we know things are crumbling.
yeah, after her,
Because
then
after her,
all of this is down.
because after her is Charles gonna take the throne? Imagine he abdicates.
After
And then
her,
it goes
we
straight to William.
agree. We agree. All of
Yeah.
this down. After her, we agree.
But the fact that she's still here
Mm-hmm.
and he's asking these kind of questions, he's saying these kind of things while she's still here,
Mm-hmm.
makes it more valid. Because imagine he said this after she died, people would have said, "Oh, he's chatting shit." We can't. How can you say this after your grandmother died? Blah 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 blah. It would have been peak.
I mean, to be fair, people are now like, oh, how are you saying this when Prince Philip is in hospital?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there'll ever be a good time to address it or
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
anything
but
like that.
even then, like the Queen itself has been in hot water, and like the people have asked those questions. Why would she do this? Like the whole thing with Aberfan when that happened in Ireland, and just a bunch of incidents that she's been responsible for, and it's just the whole Commonwealth thing. People blamed her at first
Yeah.
for all of that nonsense, and so like it's like again all of these cracks. I'm with you as far as like the monarchy as an institution. Like these are enough to put the dents in, bring it all down, and all of that. I'm just saying, right now they've got a shield up. The shield is this 96-year-old woman. Like once she's out, I'm sorry, all of this, like the Prince Andrew thing, this out because no other person in that family, in that institution, has
That's
has the
that's why we
Teflon.
need to catch him while she's still here. We need to catch him slipping.
Oh, Prince Andrew.
Yeah, we need to catch him. I swear to God.
Like no one else has that Teflon as far as like investment in the British people that they can like. She's the one person they can look and be like,
Quick 90s action thriller.
we identify with her. Like she's
She's the
one,
final like stronghold,
exactly
keeping this monarchy
that's
together.
it. She is it. Once she
Fucking
goes,
dog
that's
dogs,
gone.
But like once she passes away,
Not even William, all of that. Nope,
Prince Charles is not competent at all
He's
to do
not.
anything.
he's not.
Prince William, he might have been like, I think he was doing well to be out of the public eye,
Mm.
but like with his recent like
Cheating.
outings,
Yeah.
you say cheat.
Yeah, he was cheating on his wife with that woman, and that they had to publicly.
Prince
like,
William.
I haven't heard this.
Like, how can you say everything you said about like Prince Charles and Diana and that, and not know about like William's going for the exact same thing?
Yeah,
right now.
William was apparently cheating on her.
Cheating.
Oh, Kate
Man.
Middleton.
Cheating. That's why she was
Oh,
like,
wow,
look for
okay.
babies. Quick thing.
I'm gonna say allegedly
Mm.
because
He was cheating.
Hopefully Harry doesn't go down that same path.
Yeah, no, I think.
But we've seen he's different.
Yeah. I mean, even if he does, I think like the public will scrutinize him. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah, he'll
That's
get
what I'm
finished.
saying, like, it's
Yeah.
Like I was on Facebook the other day, and like you can start to see things turn because someone was like, "Oh, is your family a racist family?" And said, "We're most certainly not a racist family." And then the headline was, "He angrily responds." I'm like, "Ooh, it's the little things, the minor details." Like you can see like when someone's favored and not favored.
Was that
anymore.
microaggression?
Like when I listened to him respond, I was like, "Oh, that's calm." But when you see like people over exaggerating, like just to catch headlines, like okay, they definitely they don't see him in the shining light he was once in.
Exactly.
I just want to now go to Sang. Because you've been a bit quiet. This one is one of those on there. Is the one of monarchies around the world.
That's a good question.
Yeah, because it's the Arab ones like Saudi Arabia and stuff. They're actually monarchies, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But they're not monarchies in the same way we
they
think
don't
of it.
count. It's like the Nigerian ones.
Yeah, no, but it is though.
No,
because it's
the Arab
royal,
ones
the
are
royal
kind
family
of
of
the same.
Dubai, innit?
Yeah, some of the ones that
sheikhs.
exist there, they actually rule. They've got absolute power.
Like
Okay.
like the
They
actual.
got, like, oil money and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolute power.
because it's like I can't think of what the royal families, one of the royal families are called. The guy's name's like Sheikh Zayed, the guy who owns like Man City. I'm sure Mansour. Yeah, I'm sure he's like one of the. I don't know if he's part of the royal family, but he's obviously rich like that. But there's a ruling family of Dubai. I can't think of what their full name is. But yeah, so they're monarchies, but they're not the same way how we think of it because it's
Even the one in Saudi
Asia.
Arabia is one family, like actual ruling
The
power.
one in Amsterdam, them man are out here riding bikes. Like, but that's what needs to be happening here. You know
But-
what I mean? Then we catch Andrew slipping. You know what I mean? Catch him in Tesco's.
But like, are there many that are still prevalent in the sense that they are the ruling, like, body of that country? I think other than the Arab ones, I don't think there are.
there's there's a Spanish one, but there again, it's kind of the same with England, where it's like they're reigning as opposed to ruling. I think they have more influence in the Spanish government than these ones do here, but it's kind of like a similar thing, because again, like the French Revolution was kind of like game set match for royal families across the world. Like once that happened, it was kind of like, all right, we need to reevaluate our stance here. And it's just been a steady sort of like relinquishing of power from each of these, especially in Europe, because that's usually where all the monarchies are concentrated. Like every other place, it's either ruling or it's not. Because even the one in Egypt, I think that's where the king had to abdicate or something like that, where it's like they still have a family there, but it's not.
Yeah.
Again, it's not like a ruling
And
class. So
It was Al Maktoum. He's the ruling family of Dubai. So they're the ones. But again, their monarchy is different. to how we
exactly,
think
like
of monarchy.
the as far as like the Arab nations, like their one is just absolute power.
Yeah.
But in the Western world, as far as monarchies are concerned, it's usually, I can't think of one that's actually a ruling body.
Again, though, the Arab ones are all deeply rooted in religion because they're all very Muslim countries. Like they're not. And in the same
Does that
way-
also mean?
No, but
There are
even with
racism
the,
in
but
there.
the, even
Yeah,
with the even
heavy
with the
racism.
even with the religion isn't a tool to keep the power.
Yeah,
The power
Oh, yeah,
is
it's-
in the land and the oil and the
No, but
property.
it's a tool to keep the power.
No, yeah,
I would disagree with
it's
that,
not
Precious.
not in the Arab nations, as far as I'm
no,
aware.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I was-
not-
Oh,
I was talking
I
about
can't speak from
No, no, no.
experience in that.
Yeah, like from an
But
Arab,
I'm
like
saying in general, religion that is definitely.
no,
used
but
as a tool for that.
religion
I
in
don't think
general
so.
is to keep like some level of control or
believe
tame or whatever.
No, but
else. Like
yeah.
that's
in England here, many centuries ago, maybe even 3 centuries ago, according to religion, the royal family is appointed by God.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Yes.
no. So the
Yeah.
king is accountable to God.
No, appointed. That royal
Bloodline
lineage,
is-
that
Yeah.
bloodline
That's what it
is
is.
appointed by God, and people believe that.
No. See again, like
mean,
pushing that idea.
It's not biblical, but sure.
No.
yeah, that's the
pushing-
thing. It's
no,
not
pushing
biblical.
that
That's them
idea-
using religion.
Okay.
to-
Exactly, they're
Yeah.
Church of
using it.
England,
It's
that
not
whole
like
thing.
it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
it's not a thing. And the
Archbishop is
reason
the
Okay,
one
I'll
why
agree
that's
to
that's
that.
the reason why that's a thing is because again, going back all the way to we're talking what's his name?
It's like King Henry VIII or something.
To
No,
give
no,
it
no.
more
That,
legitimacy.
that's even like I'm
Like
talking
King
back to
David or
when
something.
no when
These white kings.
England was still accountable to the Pope. It was still part of the whole Catholic
Oh, okay.
apostolic thing.
Okay.
You like the line of succession was a line of succession in terms of like people killing and the families and stuff like that's just what it was. The whole thing with the God thing is you had to be cool with the Pope. The Pope was the one who was supposedly chosen by God. As far as that,
Isn't that kind of the same thing?
No.
You have to be cool with a man that was touched by God.
yeah, but again, that's what I'm saying. So it's like they're using that propaganda to help themselves, but it doesn't mean like like the lineage is like, okay, we'll appoint you because God chose you. It's like, nah. The family thing is the family
we don't believe
thing.
it. We just know it's like,
No.
that's what they
I'm not saying
use.
it's not even a belief thing. I'm saying, again, it's like whenever you had a king, people knew the next person who would rule was the prince or whoever was then in line of succession. That had nothing to do with like God or whatever. When you actually eventually became king, then when you were crowned, it's like you're saying, okay, I'm taking the powers, and this is God is on my side as far as like the rightful ruler.
They've used, yes, you're right, but they've also used religion and the family and bloodline being touched by God as the reason.
But that's further back. I think that's what it is.
But people already kind of inherently know that, you know. What I mean? It's kind of like they're royal for a reason, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's the belief that they are the royal family because of God, and God has chosen them to be
Yes,
that.
I
But
hear
along
that.
the way, it gets diluted with the Catholicism and Protestantism, etc.
I hear you. But again, like even if they just had that whole chosen by God thing, it just wouldn't work as far as like, oh, I'm chosen by God, you now believe me, because you have to buy into that. The reason why they get people to buy into that is because they have power to begin with, and that power is rooted in land.
They were like, if you chat shit about God,
that power is rooted in land. Because I have the land, I'm demanding rent and all of these things. It's easier for me to collect that rent from you if I tell you God chose me as well. But I have that land to begin with.
The only big difference though for me is that I think there is a lot more, or there's a lot of evidence to show that. I'm gonna say, I can't think of the word, but I'm gonna say the way that religion has sort of been diluted, especially like in the Western world, the way that religion has less importance is the less sort of control the royals in those countries have, and that's been shown sort of along the way. So that shows that the importance that religion does have. Obviously, they still have that. They're still going to have the power and the lands and the wealth.
and that's my point exactly.
But the religion is the way that they enforce it.
That's my point exactly. As far as like the animus, people's willingness to resent that power. It's not to say that you take religion away, you take the power away. No, you take religion away, you take away people's amenity to that power. Like that's the thing. That's where I guess the difference is. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's
if
like
you take a religion away,
you don't take the power away. You just take how likely people are to revolt against that idea. Or
No. That would increase how likely they are to revolt.
No, that's what I mean. As far as like
power
people's willingness to just take that.
Yeah, if you take away the power away, you take away that whole thing. You take away the reason.
Because when you look back, like,
exactly. But the power itself, the thing that gave them the power, isn't the religion. It's the land and whatever they had. Religion is just a way for them to kind of like
keep
hang
control.
on to it, like it's easy. But the thing is, it's an easier way for them to keep control because there are other ways they can keep control of that.
Yeah. Wait. So what was the question you were gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, just running through a couple questions.
Can I ask the question actually?
Before we get into that,
He's been trying for a while now.
This is gonna be like a quick
That's
fire
fair,
round.
that's fair.
Quick fire. Going round, is there a need for the family?
Oh, that was not.
Do you think in 2021?
Not a need.
Not for me, no.
Only for tourism, because the economy's crashed, so they're
you
going to come back.
Yes.
From an economic point of view,
Interesting.
You need them for.
I revised my answer.
How much do they bring in? Do you know?
If you turn all those royal buildings into museums, do they not just make the same piece?
If you turn them into museums,
Like museums where you have to pay, or tourist like sites without the actual family being there.
No,
we know how much they bring in?
They don't bring in the same amount, and
Okay,
because again,
alright.
the thing that brings in that amount of money and interest, because again, this is
What do they spend
it's
the money
the
on?
fascination and the fact that this is
Hold
still
on.
No,
We're
but what
talking
do they
about
spend the
money.
money
How
on?
much do they bring in?
Like,
Do we know?
Probably
like where
100 million.
do they get the money? Is it what travel, like
100
flying
million,
into the
maybe?
country, like being existing in the country?
It's the well,
Or is it
it's
like
the
the-
show? It's the show like the crown jewels and all of that.
Oh, like,
going
so the
through
memorabilia.
Oh, the stolen
Exactly.
jewels.
Which you can put in
You
a
know,
you can
brilliant.
put in a museum.
I
No,
mean,
but
people
again,
would
you can-
travel
you
from continent to be like, oh yeah, the Queen was in the house, all the little flag change. Oh.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's the fact that you're not just witnessing some painting that some guy who died ages ago painted. It's like this is still living and breathing history. Like that's the thing. people are buying into.
But do you feel like
70
The mon-
million. 70 million.
70 million? So you feel like that is enough?
It's not
for
about
the
being
royal
enough.
family
It's like
to-
again,
No,
it's
I'm
not.
saying, do you feel like that's enough for the royal family?
No,
to
definitely not.
still
Because
be standing?
tourism in itself just exists in England anyway.
Pogba
It's
costs
fucking
80.
England. Like,
So you don't.
no, but
No, but Pogba doesn't have the same.
That's one step.
Yeah, but Pogba doesn't have the same influence that.
I mean, put him.
That
it
has,
depends.
because
Depends
again-
what manager you have. Put him in defense mid. Put him in
No,
8. You know what I mean?
yeah, but bro, I'm telling you,
Is
Pogba
Bruno
doesn't
playing?
have the same. And again, talk about repeat business, so to speak. And then it's not even just you're talking about. Okay, all of that is just off of strength of memorabilia and people buying shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's the other part of it where it's like people make business decisions around like the royal family. The royal family help negotiate deals with
No,
countries.
I'm
and shit.
saying. So I'm saying.
So economically, There is a need for
it. So you're saying because they bring in a certain amount of money, they can still vibe. We can still pay Andrew his P's and give him what he needs. We can still give the Queen what they're doing. We can still give Charles his P's. We can take away the security.
Well, what was your question? Are they necessary?
No, I'm saying
that was
the
the
money
question.
that they bring in.
No,
is
that
it
was
worth? Is it worth?
What was your first
The
question?
first question
The
was,
first
are they
question.
necessary?
Do you? The first question was,
are they necessary?
is there a need for the family?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
for tourism.
And then you said, oh, for tourism. So
Yeah.
you're saying, oh, you would keep them here for the sake of tourism. So you
Yeah,
would
but
let everything.
see,
Cash out how it is.
tourism is one
No,
aspect
no.
of it. The
Is there a
influence
need
that
for
they
them?
have.
Yes, for tourism. If they didn't bring as much tourism, then no.
Is
But
there a
I'm
need for
saying-
them, full stop?
But I'm saying, with the amount they're bringing in, are you saying it is worth them still being here?
Yeah,
Like,
so he's
regardless of
saying
the money, everything else.
pros and cons. Is it?
Okay,
Are they,
regardless of the money, no.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
with the money as well. Everything encompassing, is it worth it just for the money?
Yes.
For me, no. Just because, like,
Okay, so you answered that.
yeah. But if there's a public need at the moment, there is a need for them because the economy's crashed. Once we get people coming in again, then yes.
But if we sell, but what don't you think we will get more money if we sell off a couple things? You know what I mean?
No.
No.
We
Because
can't-
again, that's just a one-off. And
We
that's
can't
gone.
take back their property.
Exactly.
So we pay a sovereign grant to the royal family, 69.4 million last year, but they have generational wealth, the lands and stuff, the swans. They keep that, so they make like 400 million a year from those properties.
So they
And other things from Dutchess anyway.
they make money kind of regardless.
Exactly.
regardless
royal.
of whether
And
or
if
not
they're not
taxpayers are
royal,
there.
they still get the properties. We can't take that from them. That's theirs.
So technically, if they were no longer royal, they would be fine regardless.
Yeah.
That's not technically. That's
and,
fact.
and kind of the tourism that would come with that would still be there because they are still there
Not as much.
regardless.
I don't know.
No,
Not as much because it's not linked and
You
it's
don't
not
have the
heavily-
same access
They
to those
just be
people because they're
citizens
private
now.
citizens.
Yeah,
now.
but they-
you
but
don't
they
have
would
that
still be
access to
there.
them.
You'll be like, okay, look, the Queen lives there, Charles lives there, Thingy lives there. Like they go to play
The Queen's,
golf over there.
is there not,
Yeah.
they're
Okay.
not-
I
Yeah,
get
you know
that.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
No, but that's but like, again, like you're not buying their shit as far as like the whole
so
tourism.
you know what I'm saying?
which is-
The money is worth it. That's what I'm saying.
But
Some
like,
of you are saying it.
when
some of you are not.
when they become private citizens, all that money, the
It
revenue becomes theirs. It doesn't become shared.
It's again,
outlet.
yeah, that's not.
They become
Government
more of a
property.
business now.
They can do all that shit. They can promote themselves because again, all this money the 70 million that's right into their bank accounts. That's not government property anymore. So it's like if
So
they
there's
go,
even
money
more
goes.
of a reason for them not to be there because they're even getting more money for doing nothing.
No. They get
They're getting the money regardless.
They shouldn't get money at all.
But
But-
that money's
If they become private citizens, they have more than enough chance. Just be like, okay, yeah, you can come tour the thing. You
So
pay.
they'll just be like any other rich white people that are
Exactly.
there anyway.
Yeah, and then none of that money that they get from tourism comes to us. Not
Yeah.
like it comes to us anyway.
Yeah, so what difference does that really make
It just
in our
means that
day-to-day lives?
it
at
just means
Tesco?
that the money from tourism will just be
Bread
their
is still
own
going up,
private.
you know. Bread is still going up. So
That's not their fault. though.
Brexit is happening.
that's
They'll
not
be
their
fine.
fault.
Wait,
I'm not saying it's their fault, but I'm saying so. Wait, I just want to get this clear. So, the money that they generate, you lot are saying it is enough. I'm not saying you. I'm saying some of you are saying it is enough to warrant them to still have their position and everything they still have right now, going forward in the future.
Ideally, we'd stop paying the sovereign grant, and they still do everything else they do because they have enough money to generate for themselves. But saving us 70 million, and with the money they generate from tourism going to the public, for me that's
So we
enough.
should.
I guess this is the way I'm putting
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Okay, see, there we go.
This is the way I'm putting it. This is the way I'm putting it. Is there a
Yeah, I'm
need?
scared. I can't lie.
Is there
I can't
a
lie. I was
need
like,
for them? Is there a need for them? I want them to have the influence politically.
Not really. To be fair, I just want one thing from them, which is like, 4-day working week. If she says 4-day working week, I'm like, you know what, Queen, take it. But
You could do that before she dies. You know?
I don't know if it's possible. I know if once a monarch dies, we get an extra bank holiday.
Oh, the Queen. When the Queen dies.
Yeah.
No.
But like if they're like, oh no, 4-day working week to appease all of you, I'm like, you know what?
Like Anthony was saying, like so she says 4-day work week. Like calm. We'll have that for a number of years, and then some government idiot changes the policy. Like it's
Revolt.
just what.
Revolt.
Yeah, you're saying revolt, but will they actually?
Yeah, 4-day work. People want to
Yes.
spend more time at home.
Yes, trust.
Everyone-
4-day work. We come.
Everyone would be
I'm
on.
not even working that
Like-
now, and I need that. Like, you know what I mean? That's not.
That's what I want.
That's what I want. That's logically that 5-day work week is crazy.
All that. there'll be scandal based on that person who's trying to make it from a 4-day work week to 5-day work week. Just say, anti-Semitism.
We
Like,
have to get
he
quick.
would be
trust.
out.
But you know,
Or she.
Anthony, with the 4-day work week, would your income decrease?
I'm happy if my income decreases proportional to that extra day at least.
Oh, okay.
Life is short.
Yeah, I'm not saying, I want the same something. Like,
It would have to.
that'd be selfish.
It would have to. Even though, speaking facts, it's still sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-day work week with
But-
the same pay, still sustainable.
Hold on, would you lot want 4-day
It is
work week? Yes or
sustainable.
no?
It's whether it's a
Oh,
question
yeah,
of
Yes or no? Would you lot want 4-day work week?
Yeah.
who's gonna say no?
Huh?
Doesn't bother me. So.
It's not. No, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's
Actually,
gonna-
wait. So kids don't go to school then? On the
No.
fifth day.
Kids will. Okay.
So like it's
School
like,
is- school is school.
That's teachers as well, because again, but
So
the
Friday
pandemic.
is-
Actually, no,
Because
to be
it's
fair,
weekend.
they've got all that summer holiday.
Yeah, trust.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
they've got time. They've got
but
time.
Even with the whole thing, even during term time, what's the pandemic showing you? People doing homeschooling. You can talk to your teachers
Exactly.
online. Like, bro, it's one day. That could be like homework day, and then speak to your
You know.
teachers or your tutor. This
Oh,
you
but
go
obviously
to register.
You have,
You do your register online.
Petition.
Parents have kids who who leave their kids.
Okay, even
School,
if it
so
was
it's after.
schools just 4 days, would you say no?
Yeah, I'd say no.
Wow.
Wait, you say
Because
no?
you're
gonna ruin it for the rest of us.
Even when you said there
Selfish.
are parents who leave the kids.
Selfish.
Like, you wouldn't have to leave your kids if you're at home with your kids
Doesn't want
on the
Yeah.
4th day. Like, nah, that
We just want one
that's
thing,
whack.
sir.
You're making sense.
That's whack.
Goodness.
That's whack. What the fuck? Or the people who leave their kids. Well, yeah, like you're not going anywhere. You're at home. It's your kid.
I think it'll solve many
what-
problems.
But what if you don't work on that 5th day? So let's say, for example, your kid goes to school 5 days a week, and on one of those days, like, so let's say
What do
Friday.
you mean? Like, they won't go to work 5
Then that's
days a
what
week
they go
because
to
the
school and
teachers
then
have
start
to do the
smoking.
4-day week thing too.
So no,
I mean,
kids-
to be fair-
kids go to school 5 days a week, right? Monday to Friday.
Right now, yes.
Currently, right? But if you have Friday off, then you have a free Friday, right?
Yeah.
However, it's a 4-day work week now. Now that Friday, your kid's at home with you. What if you don't want to spend time with your kid? What if you just want one day to?
What do you mean?
These are the inner questions you have to ask within your
I
soul.
mean, this is more you problem than it is.
No, like parents, like they need to have time away from their kids.
Yeah, but like,
You'd
rather have-
You can do that on like you can, bro. How do people go on holidays? A couple holidays. You can put them with your cousins or wherever.
because you have to think about it. It's
Yeah,
either
if you want
time
the-
at home with your kids or time at work.
What
And
if,
yours-
what if, again, like I said, what if you don't work that 5th day?
Yeah,
If
but
you don't
again,
work
you
that
can.
fifth
This is not a problem, son. You just
Send
take
your
them
kids to your
like,
sisters,
a
that's
family.
it.
Yeah, send them to a family.
How is this a problem?
Send them to a relative's house. It's a day.
Just be like, oh,
Like,
kids,
if you want to have time alone with your wife or whatever, do
yeah.
yeah, like this
That's
is not
like
a
the
problem.
kids are bad vibes.
How the
It's a
fuck
balance.
people go on weeks? People go on holidays for weeks. Talking about the royal family, they leave their children home for months while they go touring the world. The fuck? Man saying no, if you want to chill, you don't want to chill
just
with
go
your
to
kids.
Denmark for like 3 days.
How can you like not chill with them?
Like, oh, this guy again. Oh,
What if 2 days is already enough? You know?
well, I don't know.
It
Tell
sounds
them,
to me like you don't want kids, bro.
just get them with VR or something.
No,
I don't
so-
know.
Ain't it? Like the fuck?
And then obviously, there are some parents like nurses and stuff and teachers who.
Again, all of them are on
want to
4
take-
days,
get
bro.
paid.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, like, everyone's on 4 days. It's not one sector is doing 4 days or this sector is doing
Yeah.
4 days. It's not a shift where this one has to do 5 days while the other one do 4.
Alright.
I mean,
Everyone's
the way I
getting
was
the
thinking
full-
about it is, we work 4 days, our salary gets decreased a little bit, but everyone's slight decrease in salary allows more people to be employed.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still have, like, if your business is like 7 days a week.
Exactly. You can have
just-
like a rota system.
Exactly.
Because O2 is open 7 days a week, but not everyone works. Like you have your 5 days
Yeah.
where you work or whatever. Like it's like there are ways around this. Plus, if you're self-employed, you dictate how often you want to work. It's just like the legal like requirements for the people.
If I ever get into politics, this will be my main campaign. 4 days
I
work
can
week.
see you being
Four
getting
day
involved in politics though.
Nah,
Not even gonna
there'll be
lie.
too many scandals.
Not at all.
Also, I have other questions.
Before you ask it, Nivis, one reason why I would have the monarchy is for, so like what Anthony said, to give them more political power. Because if you have one body that knows they're in power for the next 100 years or so,
So right now, if you could, you would give the people who were in the palace right now
Not-
political power.
not them, like
Who? Andrew.
personally, not them personally.
What, so you'd put another royal family in?
So yeah, so what the Romans
We could
did.
nominate them like X Factor
Yeah.
or something.
No, so what the Romans did is that
Bro.
the
The
royal
Romans,
family,
yeah.
or the,
If we're going to the Romans, then we have to take it to the Colosseum. That's what I want to see.
Wait, go on.
so what they did is the emperor
Mm.
who was in charge. So I would prefer this system: an emperor who basically trains like a cohort of I think of students
Warrior kids.
to be an emperor, and he chooses the best competent person out of that cohort. And then that, I think
It sounds like an
That's like
anime.
a- that's
Only
the
consists of
military-
Eldians.
That's a military. That's like a legion and
But
how
then-
they work. That's
that,
a
wo-
cohort.
that worked for them. That worked for them until one of them got greedy and wanted their son to be the next emperor.
So it didn't work.
Yeah, it's the
No,
beast.
no, no.
It was a beast titan.
Until
Because that guy had too
same
much
thing
power.
would still
So
happen-
it worked
same-
until it didn't
the
work.
same thing would still happen now, where you start like, okay, so who are these candidates? Like,
Hold on, what
are you
is
putting
wait,
black
what-
people
what
in there?
is-
I
Are
don't
you,
know.
are you
I
putting
did
black
not
people in there?
So you're saying
Everybody
someone,
Asian people
Anyone
in
who's
there?
competent. Anyone who's competent.
Wait,
so
Yeah,
how,
but
can, how can we trust said competent person to pick someone? Where does that level of trust come from?
who's the person that gets to pick? Who's
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
They
saying.
can't go to Eton because that's where they
Yeah.
just act all weird.
What are you
there.
saying? Brampton Manor.
Nah, that has to be from a public school. Like, 'cause then they'll have jokes.
It has to be something that can
Like, what's
select
that?
the most competent leader.
Majid, the Sheffield's mayor, he's Somalian.
Oh, that guy with the hat and the chain.
Yeah,
The
that's
chain's a
it.
bit much, but yeah, I hear that.
I feel like his name's Majid something.
Yeah.
My main point is, if you know you're in power for the next hundreds of years or so, you can do long-term decisions. and plans.
Off kids who are
Well, like- no, no.
kids who are fighting.
Like Bran.
No, don't ruin Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's the least of your worries. You should have watched the interview, bro. No, you know.
No, but
Right.
my point is, so for things like long-term problems like global warming and climate change and stuff,
I get what you're saying, but
if you know,
the
If you-
point is the problems was like there'll still be problems with that system because again,
There'll still be
it's
problems,
all
yeah.
it's
There's
always
problems
going
with
to be
every
corrupt.
system, but it's just
Like
like
the what you don't want, but yeah, but the reason why that won't work is with the problems in that system, you can't change it because again, you've given them absolute power. That's the problem with that. The good thing about the good thing about the republic model is because you have the ruling party or whatever has got the power, but again, they only have that for a certain amount of time because they know their money's
literally
going
in
to come
America's
after them.
8 years you can be a president and that's it.
Well,
What can you
again,
do in 8 years?
yeah, but bro, what
So
can
it's
you do
not
in
5
5?
Wait, are we just
Yeah,
glossing
but-
over the fact that we've had like the whole of history of kings and queens of doing bullshit, and you want to go back to that?
Just
Innit? Like, it's like
That is
yeah.
mad.
and 1B, what should Buckingham Palace turn into?
Trampoline park.
Someone said
Big ass
Weatherspoons.
trampoline park. 'Cause
Nah,
they've
nah,
got-
nah, nah.
they've
If it's a
got them-
Weatherspoons, I'm burning
honestly,
this
like he might be onto something because they've got those high ceilings. Like they've got them high
It
ceilings,
better not be a
bro.
Weatherspoons.
Then you man, a museum or some
It's
kind
gonna
of
be a
tourist
museum.
attraction.
That's what they're gonna do.
That's
it's gonna be
fine.
a museum. That's come on.
To
Like
be fair, they
these
could.
people have no
What
creativity.
those guys with the batons? Not batons.
The royal guard,
Yeah, they can
yeah,
keep their
Queen's
jobs.
Guard.
They can be there.
I think like they should
Let
put
them chill.
a lot of Star Wars cosplay people in there, and like
Yeah, just
Just
turn them into
yeah.
stormtroopers.
that's what I want.
This
Yeah, but
dude's buying
stormtroopers
everything
are dead,
anyway.
You know what I mean?
Just,
Stormtroopers are dead. I used to think people used to talk about them. I used to think they were lit, like those elite soldiers and kind of shit.
okay,
but they're
make
just
them the
whack.
silver ones.
We'll
with
make
like
it the Death Troopers then. You know what I mean?
Oh, Death. Oh.
Well, the ones in
Nah, this would be too
Mandalorian.
scary.
Yeah, those ones are sick.
Mm.
Too scary.
The Mandalorian ones are sick. Every other trooper I've seen so far. I need to get back into Clone Wars. I've stopped watching it for a while. But
Elite,
yeah,
elite TV.
Yeah, I'm kidding. It shouldn't be a trampoline park.
honestly, I'm driving with the trampoline idea. I'm sorry. Those high ceilings are very useful.
I wouldn't mind a saying
It,
please.
it could just stay as a building. I just want to
Or we
see
can have
what's
it like a laser, like a
Laser
laser
tag,
tag.
hide and
Thing.
seek.
Yeah, bro.
could
You
use it
know
for
the
the
amount of
homeless.
rooms in that place?
Yeah, yeah.
Laser
Homeless?
tag. Or just have it
To
like
be fair, they've got
make
loads
it
of
be
rooms
like a
there.
massive arcade.
Massive.
Massive.
Massive. I know lately I've been speaking really weird.
Massive.
Let's have like a massive arcade in there. That'd be sick.
Yeah. Or I know we've kind of talked about it a bit, but like the Queen is practically the last link to like that old world. What's it gonna be like when she dies? Like, what do you think?
People finna be out here.
Carnival season, yeah.
Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I actually do. Because her death's gonna be more like there's gonna be like the initial mourning, blah blah blah, but it's gonna be more of a celebration than anything else.
Nah, people are going to be annoyed that Charles is going to be on the throne.
No. They're
So
gonna
like,
bypass him. They've already had this conversation.
Yeah, they've had a
Like-
conversation, but
They're
he's
gonna
been
bypass
waiting for time.
Yeah,
When
they're
he
gonna
got
bypass
COVID,
it.
I was like,
They're
peak.
gonna bypass it. Like,
But-
he's not getting it.
Nah, I think he'll get.
Either William gets it or we're about to start the whole crash. Like that's just it. Like those are the two options people have. No one's he's not getting on the throne. I'm sorry.
Who,
That's
Charles?
just, it would just yeah.
You think Charles is doing all this to
I will
not get on the
bet
throne.
you. I will
You think he's
bet.
not doing this to taste the absolute power?
Let's
Yeah.
bet £1 on it.
He's doing it.
Let's bet
He's
£1
doing
on
it.
it.
That's fine. I'll bet you a pound. No.
Like he would last till coronation, not just she dies and he's
He
not
will become
recognized,
king for a while.
If he lives.
he will not
Because
be
what kind of
coronated.
father would then abdicate to give the
He
stress
will not-
to his son,
he
whose
will
hairline
not
is
be-
already on the
£1,
brink?
he will not be coronated.
Already on the brink.
He will not be coronated.
I don't care if
There's a
coronated.
question of whether or not that nigga's
He
gonna
will be-
live to that point.
you will see King Charles before, even if it's for like a month or a year. Or
See,
whatever.
that's where like I'm talking about coronation. Because that's when you talk about the whole religion shit and the God. That's when they put the crown on your head and the scepter. And all that.
How long does that take? What, 4 months? I don't know how long that takes.
No, that depends. They can fix that any day.
Yeah. So.
But they fix that based on like a whole bunch of economic factors and like the longevity of your rule. Like, but that's the official.
I'm not here for the ifs and buts. I just know
that's when your reign begins.
He will be king for a little.
Because even what's his name, Edward VII, he didn't get coronated, so he's not like he was like the throne passed to him, but he never got coronated, and so that was like his something about his title wasn't confirmed or something, like he wasn't king. So it's like like you'd have to have that for it to be like, okay, this is when your reign started.
Why ain't William backing his brother?
You mean Edward VI?
Whichever one got abdicated.
7.
6
is Henry VIII.
Why isn't William backing his brother?
Because he's scared. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't really say for all of that because again, I don't know what kind of private conversations they've had. Because all of to this point, as far as I'm aware, it's all been the family. The family. We don't know whose side is on whose side.
But what was she referring to them as? Is it the squad? Not
The firm.
The firm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So for all of that, like that goes. I mean, that goes. I don't know who's for who.
That's
or who's
mad. I'd say the
like,
firm.
like, I can't say he's not.
You know, it
I
just
can't
reminds
say
me
he
of
is.
fucking Green Street.
Like football, yeah.
It reminds me of like a supervillain, like the firm.
Yeah, it's like I just see Frodo getting fist up
You know what though?
after West Ham away.
Snoop Dogg, and was it Snoop Dogg on the
Someone
all the
said they
smoke
watched that,
podcast?
innit?
No, it's not even that. Like the firm, that joke they made
Yeah.
that just like I like the
Oh.
sound of that, like that kind of like money making moves kind of shit.
The
Like
firm.
it was Snoop. I can't say it was Snoop Dogg or someone. They said the firm, and
Do
they
you
were
know-
like, oh,
do you know
that
what I
sound
really
like
hate?
money.
I really hate like Americans talking about like not really just England, but like especially like the royal stuff because you know how they always do the the teacups and crumpets and all that stuff. I really hate America.
Well,
like,
let's give
so I
a-
won't be able to listen to like podcasts like that.
Let's give a.
No, they weren't talking about the royal family. They were just talking about some money in the company.
Oh,
But someone
okay,
said like
okay.
the way they said it was like,
Yeah.
like we need to get our company or like a firm, and like, I like the sound of that. That sounds like money.
Don't-
Firm.
Don't you
But
think
have you been
it's
silenced?
that
Or silenced?
What?
it was in the interview? Innit?
Oh, you didn't get it
You
right.
didn't
I was
watch it.
thinking, why is it so confused?
Yeah, I didn't get it.
But
Yeah.
do
That's a
you know what I did think was interesting as well? When Harry obviously said about the whole being trapped, Charles, William, like all of the family being trapped.
Seems like
And
he's the
then-
trap star.
Nice.
That was bad.
Nice. That's nice. But it's interesting that he'd say that because obviously the question then comes up of would he have felt that way before Meghan? And I think he says that he did, but
He
said-
he
yeah,
didn't.
he said
But
he couldn't.
Meghan allowed him to realize that he was. So
to
racismo allowed him to.
understand the
What's Mr.
the
Mason?
bias.
Like,
Yeah.
open your eyes.
Open your eyes. Oh, that guy. That was the first teacher that I talked back to, and he sent me up. Like, hate that guy. And then it was the maths teachers that get called next. Like, that was racism. That was racism.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
I thought that was just so silly. Like what? She opened my eyes. Like what?
Mm. Oh yeah. No, if he was saying it like, oh, she opened my eyes to racism, that's mad. That's mad.
That's what it was. That's what it
That's
was.
mad. Yeah.
Like he didn't. He had a whole Nazi outfit, and people would have called him out, and like he had to apologize, and then started working with the army.
If he'd said like the degree of racism in terms of like the internal racism, then I'd say all right.
I feel
cool.
like that's what the first. She probably opened him to the eye, like to the fact that
like there's under the
I was
table
discriminating
racism.
black people.
Yeah. If he's saying it in a way as in just racism in general,
Gasp.
then that's mad.
Yeah.
'Cause-
I feel like that was because that's what I need more white people to be doing. To be like, yeah, you know what? I was racist for a little bit, or not necessarily racist,
Until
but
my
you know,
black girlfriend.
I had unconscious bias. Like
And that's the
Because
whole
you know
point.
what it
Is
is?
unconscious bias
Yeah.
is the biggest thing.
a lot of people do it.
It's not
and act
overt.
like they
Yeah.
weren't that before.
It's not
Like,
overt racism that's the problem. It's the microaggressions and it's
Mm.
the underlying racism that's the
Mm.
biggest problem. And
Mm.
that's what is hard to detect because you might not even know until you're 40. Like
Yeah.
you might live in an all white area or all white village and you know
That's true, though.
there's like one black family that comes in and you don't realize that you're asking them why their hair looks like that or why because you probably would have said to the ginger guy, why are you ginger, like, but they don't realize what they're doing, what it stems from and how it's can be perceived, and that's what is the root of the issue.
Like, oh, what's that food? I think Balumi's making fufu again. Oh,
But even
Spice it.
the question of just bringing it up, they're so defensive. It's like, oh, it can never be a problem. I can't even fathom it. It could never happen. And it's like,
because their idea of racism is like you're an N-word.
If we're not calling you nigga, then it's like, well, it ain't happening.
Yeah, exactly.
We're laughing over there. What's that?
Laughing a bit too much.
I was like,
man was
there's
silent,
no way
I
he's
wanted
gonna
to
let
laugh.
that slide.
Talking about you.
Yeah,
You say why you laughing?
Why are you talking about me?
There's no way he was just gonna let that slide. As soon as he laughed, I knew I was gonna say something. I was like, let me let it go. But I knew
You know
someone
those
was gonna
pictures
say
he
it.
puts in with they got the African hat on and the eyes. That's what that was right there.
She's like,
Yeah.
bro, I was gonna say something. I knew I was gonna say something. Like when Sang laughed, I was like,
Did you guys find that offensive?
nah, it's
Just
not
laughed a bit
offensive.
too hard, innit?
Yeah, you're allowed one chuckle.
I mean, he's not allowed anything after what happened last time. But,
Oh, you don't.
oh, actually, you know what? While we're here on the topic, Sang wanted to talk about some Asian American stuff, and he wasn't going to talk about it properly until you were here. Because it seems like you were the Asian correspondent for black people. So,
Okay.
so now we're going to have you.
I wonder why.
We're going to
Why?
read it. Oh,
Why
my
is
black
that?
Asian brother. You know what I mean? That's,
Oh, that's what I saw that on the thing. I was like,
Oh,
who's
that
he
was
talking
so
about? I was thinking, what the heck was that? Okay.
Oh yeah. Because what was the question he wanted to ask, and he was like he wanted Anthony's perspective on it, and I couldn't really
yeah, it
understand
was
why.
just about the whole like Asian stuff in general. And he
Yeah.
was like, oh, you know what? I want to wait till Anthony's here. So Anthony's here now. Let's have a discussion.
I am here.
Asian lives matter.
Okay, so in recent events with the rising hate crimes against Asians, and
Joe Biden made a speech about it.
Oh, did he? Okay, in America. So Joe Biden
He's gonna
recognized it.
incorporate that discussion. Oh, here's some new
He's
information.
just throwing him in there. Like he's done the
New
research.
information, like, oh, there you
Like,
go.
oh, did he? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's part of my question now.
And quite big sports franchises have. I mean, like they've all like kind of recognized it. So the NBA, the NFL, I think, or NHL or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your view on the hate against the Asians in both America and the UK? Because there's quite a lot of there's more of an increase in attacks against, especially the elderly as well,
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. And I think it could be in relation to COVID.
Mhm.
And what do you think of the people committing these crimes? A lot. So what from what I'm reading, a lot of Asians are angry
Okay.
because they feel like they supported the Black Lives Matters movement.
I don't know if that's.
However-
I don't know if that's how I saw it, but okay.
However, so a lot of them are like kind of, I guess, social. What do you call it? Left wing kind of people. So they support all those movements and stuff. They say, "Oh, we support you guys," but then when it comes to like these kind of
Prejudice against them,
these kind of
they're not
prejudice against
supported.
us, you don't support us in the same way that we support you.
Okay.
Do you see it like that, or have you seen?
I mean, personally, I don't think I saw anything from. When I say the Asian community, obviously I have Asian people around me who supported it, but in terms of like big
As a whole,
like populations of Asian people saying like, oh yeah, no, this is wrong, I didn't hear that at all. I heard people in like, was it Yemen? I know they did like a whole Black Lives Matter thing, right? I heard nothing from mainland China or Japan or Korea.
So
Or,
yeah, it wouldn't be like mainland kind
but
of.
like if you're saying do I know of individual Asian people who support Black Lives Matter? Of course. And I agree that sometimes I don't know why some black people like to like what's the word? Take ownership of victimization. And I feel like that's wrong. Sometimes you can for me, if something's wrong, you stand up for it. Whether it's an Asian person, a black person, Jewish person, transgender person, just stand up for it. So I'm thinking the attacks against Asian people is more likely. It's obviously going to be due more to what's happened recently with the whole COVID and stuff. Is it wrong? Yes. Should it be addressed? Yes. Is what the NFL, NBA, what they're doing to combat it, is that correct? Yes. I don't have any issues with that. The people who are committing crimes, unfortunately, some people are black, doing against Asian people. I'm going to call it out because I don't see why you wouldn't.
So is it hypocrisy if a black person commits these crimes but also shouts BLM. Is
Yeah.
that hypocrisy?
Obviously.
And I think the
Is
reason
it the
for
same
that
black
is 'cause
person?
what we said is that last week or whenever this was, with BLM, obviously it's Black Lives Matter, but the underlying part is the fact that racism is is wrong and it
Yeah,
should end.
exactly.
It's essentially, as dumb as it is to say, it is essentially all lives matter. Our lives matter as much as everyone else's. And with the Asian discrimination and racism against them, etc. It's not essentially saying that it's excluding Asian people because it is Black Lives Matter. At the end of the day, if you're fighting for one thing, you should, I guess, like you said, fight for the injustices against all kinds of people. But it comes back to it's your sphere of influence in it. So some people are not going to fight for causes because it doesn't affect them, and also because some people will feel like, okay, if I defend this, I'm gonna have to fucking defend everything.
Exactly.
And that's fair enough. Not
It
everyone
is
is gonna want to
exhausting.
do that. Yeah, exactly. So if your argument is, black people should stand up because we supported them, it's a bit wishy-washy,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
fair enough. But if people are choosing to not do it because they're saying that, I don't know, they didn't see Asian people do it or whatever, then I guess that's on them. It's hard to get people to do stuff when it doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the main message of Black Lives Matter, really,
It's
in
about
my
black
eyes
lives.
anyway, or most people's eyes, is police brutality, which directly affected black people.
Sure.
But then also, what is the whole underlying issue of that is racism. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so you shouldn't go into supporting a cause thinking, oh, they're going to reciprocate.
yeah,
It's down to the individual at the end of the day. But if you can't be oh no, I'm morally good saying, oh, I support Black Lives Matter, but I'm also blind to seeing the injustices being done to Asian people. So I feel like you can't say one thing and then be against the other thing. You can be like, oh, I don't personally see it and I'm going to do my research into it. That's fair enough. You don't have to make a statement about every single thing you see that seems incorrect to you if you've not done enough research. But you shouldn't go into something expecting your support just because you've done it for someone else.
yeah, it's the same as don't give to receive. You get taught that at a young age.
Exactly.
You shouldn't do things in the interest of getting something back all the time. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
So I guess the whole thing is oh no, we supported black people, so where's our support? It sounds a bit disingenuous.
And also, it's I mean, I know it's kind of on the point of, oh, you should do it to get it. But to a lot of those people, they would look at, if you said, oh yeah, we supported you, a lot of them would look at it and be like, where?
Exactly.
Where did that happen? But, that's, yeah. So I feel like asking that, kind of to them, while a lot of their thing is still kind of happening, is Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is Black Lives Matter. There's space for other things to do that, and it's oh, you don't necessarily need Black Lives Matter for that. I feel like once it gets to the point of a Black Lives Matter, it gets to that kind of stage, then there's easier kind of allyship, I guess, at that point. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of.
So if the monarchy ends today, what are you guys doing first?
Big spliff.
Honestly, nothing at all.
Exactly.
Nothing at all.
Okay.
Didn't
Gonna
affect
catch
while
me a
we
few
were here,
swans.
didn't expect it to affect me when it goes.
Gonna see what swan tastes like. I hate ducks, but I'll happily try a swan just to see what I've been missing out on.
Wait. So what is this about swans that you?
You can't kill a swan. It's the queen's property.
They're legally protected.
Every single swan you see.
Mad. How are the swans
It's the
more
queens.
protected than Meghan? It's a mad thing.
Bruv, imagine how many swans have been killed by kids or something. Just kids just doing kid shit. Then kind of mad.
Fucking up the swans.
Yeah, kids will throw rocks at shit and stuff like that. Imagine that. It just hits the swan then.
And that's